All right. So people are talking about Prince Andrew in the UK being arrested for allegedly or for abuse of public information, right? While he was in office, sharing documents with Jeffrey Epstein or whatever it is. To me, I'm not buying it. I think I call bullshit on it because now I have a video that I talked about how I just think Jeffrey Epstein was a genius, like regardless, not I don't want to say regardless, but despite the fact that, the whole underage girls thing, I get it. I'm not for it. I don't condone that. But I'm sure other people in history have done that, but nobody was able to garner that much leverage over politicians and billionaires and governments and whatever you want to call it, right? Like that much power. That man was arguably the most powerful person on earth, right? And he did all that. He accumulated all of that. So that part, I'm not touching the underage side. But again, the genius part, I've said, right, openly, and I stand by that connection, the power of having access to those many people and being able to maybe make a phone call and, get your way around things, right? Now, with this UK thing, I'm not buying it. People are talking about this. To me, this is probably the shittiest, should I say cover up or the shittiest retroactive punishment for anything whatsoever like that anybody's ever done, especially for government. I call it shitty because we all know, and if that's true, that he shared information, which I believe he did to some extent, because if you have that much power, and those photos that we're seeing are the things he did, I'm sure Jeffrey Epstein had, a lot of evidence to put him out there. So yes, I'm sure there was some sharing of information here and there, but I don't think that's the reason he got arrested. And do I have proof to back this up? No, it's just a hunch. It's just the way I look at things. It's just a shitty, should I say damage control? Now, we already know that he was accused of this and the whole process when he got stripped from his princely duties or titles or whatever it is. Hell, do that move from the main house to, I guess you can call it a doghouse, but the doghouse was still a mansion and still being paid for by the British taxpayer. So, to me, that is just a slap on the wrist and say, you know what, we're gonna appease the public and have you sit over there in the corner like you don't belong on the table, but which you really do. But we're just gonna let the public think that you don't belong on the table. But he's still family. He's still family. Sit on the corner. You still get access to. You're still privy to information, and I call this shitty because if we had not had these files released, we would not have this situation. I don't care what anybody says because yes, they had the first blow up where things really came out regarding Prince Andrew, or not so Prince Andrew anymore, whatever you want to call it, or whatever you want to call him now. But I think this files released reveal more information. A lot of information was revealed that it put a lot more shame onto the royal family. And they decided, okay, you know what? If we just sit around and do nothing and say, oh, well, we punished him before, we stripped him of his royal title or whatever it is. Yeah, people will say that's not enough. So arresting him, it's a way to tell the public that, you know what? Nobody's above the law. So if we can arrest the prince or former prince, then everybody else will face the consequences. I'm not buying it. He's going to get arrested, like they said. Let's see where he is. Where is he? Where is he being held right now? He's probably going to end up with a house arrest. They say, oh, well, maximum sentence, life imprisonment. He's not getting that. Let's chill. That is not happening. They're going to drag this thing on till maybe the end of the year, maybe next year, when everybody's forgotten about it. People have moved on. Other stuff have taken over. And somebody's going to come out somewhere and say, well, he was, convicted or whatever, slapped with a house arrest. And he's going to go back to that mansion where he was living in. And again, I'm not British, so I don't care. But my thing is, when I see some BS, when I see some kind of bullshit, I'm not buying it. That is a shitty cover-up job. It's just, you telling me they didn't know that the dude shared information from the first time that it was revealed that he had access to, him and Jeffrey Epstein were buddies and whatnot. He did not, they couldn't tell that. If they could not tell, then the UK government is shittier than I thought, because there's some way you will find out. I'm sure they know that, because a lot of times these people, when I say these people, I'm talking about like whether it's governments and politicians, they know things before the public knows. Like there are things that they know that the public doesn't know. And when the public gets to know, then they pretend as if they found out the same time the public did. That is not true. We all know that is not true. The same way, if a company is going through a lot of crap, the CEO knows. The CEO knows about it. When the public finds, I remember when I think Equifax had a breach. That was 2017, I believe. They had that breach where like 150 million customers, their information was leaked or whatever. When that leak was made to the public, the CEO, the company executives, the C-suite executives, CEO especially, knew about it 90 days, 3 months before the public knew about it. But he tried to like mitigate it, fix it behind the scenes, but it came out. He could not contain it. They know what's up. They know everything. But every time something blows up, they act like, well, we're just finding out now. Bullshit. I'm not buying it. 1 second. So to me, this is a shitty cover-up job. They're just trying to appease the public to say, well, you know what? We have to make an example. It's an example thing. You know how sometimes you hear athletes will say, I think I heard Allen Iverson say this one time, that Larry Brown came to him and told him one time, I think doing practice or whatever, and you hear this a lot, where he said, hey, I'm going to pick on you at practice, right? I'm going to make your life hard. And I heard they did this to Duncan as well, Tim Duncan. So that is a message that if I can pick on the big dog in the team, like the most important player, the most important player on the team, then that sends a message to the rest of the team that, hey, you know what? If that guy can get it, everybody else can get it. So it puts everybody else in line. That's what's happening here. They're just trying to make an example out of him because, first of all, they stripped him. Okay, so we can pile a little more on him. So he's just playing along. I'm sure he's in on it. I'm sure he's in on it and say, you know what, we're going to use you as an example to send a message, because if we don't do that, then somebody else does something, maybe not the same, but similar or closely related. They can stand on the grounds or maybe stand in court and say, well, you had somebody sitting up the food chain, you didn't punish that person, so why are you holding me accountable now? So that's a double standard. So they're using him on that. I don't buy it. That's a shitty job. It's not about no damn documents. Yes, the documents happen. I'm sure some of it, but I believe they knew about it. They knew about it that first time around when they stripped them. Now they just say, okay, well, the public is finding out now. God damn, we got to do something. So let's go arrest him. If you really wanted to punish the man, why did you put him in a mansion where the British people are paying for it? Because the mansion was too relatively big. I mean, that's a life. And the government was paying for his... It's just laughable. But hey, it's politics, right? I'm not hating on it. But the thing is, don't just pee on people's legs and tell them it's rainy. And I don't know if I'm the only one not buying this, but to me, this is just a shitty cover-up job. I'm not buying it. But hey, then again, I'm not British. I don't care. But it's just some bullshit that we see on TV and we're supposed to buy it because I'm not buying it. I am not.